Welcome to America News.
Apple confirmed Tuesday that it has purchased PowerbyProxi, a New Zealand-based wireless charging company. Apple did not disclose a purchase price, but said the team will remain based in Auckland. The company began a decade ago as a spin-out from the University of Auckland. It has been involved in the Wireless Power Consortium and efforts to improve the Qi standard for wireless charging. Why it matters: Apple added wireless charging capabilities to the iPhone 8 and iPhone X and announced plans for a future wireless charging station. Buying PowerbyProxi gives Apple significant experience in the field. PowerbyProxi's expertise, though, goes further than phones, with the company's website describing work in drones and underwater vehicles. A lawyer representing the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee paid Fusion GPS, a Washington firm, to conduct research that led to the infamous Trump-Russia dossier, The Washington Post reports. Fusion GPS hired Christopher Steele, a former British intelligence officer, who authored the dossier, which contains salacious but unverified claims about Trump's conduct in Russia and links between his associates and the Kremlin. Why it matters: we know the dossier is playing a role in Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe. This report underscores that it was, at least initially, an attempt to discredit Trump, and one that is tied directly to the Clinton campaign. Worth noting, prior to its agreement with a Clinton lawyer, Fusion GPS's research into Trump was funded by a still unknown Republican client during the GOP primary, the Post writes. The Senate passed a $36.5 billion relief package Tuesday to aid victims of recent wildfires and hurricanes, as well as extend emergency credit to Puerto Rico to keep its government functioning, according to the Wall Street Journal. The package passed the House earlier this month. Why it matters: the bill would allocate $16 billion to the U.S. flood insurance program, $576.5 million to wildfire efforts, $18.7 billion to FEMA disaster relief, and $4.9 billion to Puerto Rico to avoid a government shutdown. What comes next? Trump has to sign the bill. Per Mark Warner, the committee's top Democrat, elements of the bill include the FBI would be required to receive an after-the-fact review from the National Security-focused FISA court when they used the surveillance program in some cases. Warner said that if the court determined that some agent inappropriately used that information could not be used in any further proceeding. The program would be renewed for a total of 8 years. The FISA court would have to approve the revival of the program's so-called about searches that were previously halted and have been a target of criticism by privacy advocates. Congress could stop those queries from being brought back, per Warner. What's next? The bill has yet to move to the Senate floor. There are also differences between the reform bill in the House and what Warner described. The House bill only reauthorizes the program for 6 years, for example. Go Deeper: New York Times reporter Charlie Savage has been keeping tabs on the differences between some of the reauthorization proposals. The Department of the Interior is considering a price hike for national park visitors during peak visitor seasons to raise money for infrastructure improvements, according to a press release on Tuesday. Secretary Ryan Zinke said targeted fee increases at some of our most visited parks will help ensure that they are protected and preserved. We need to have the vision to look at the future of our parks, to ensure that our grandkids will have the same if not better experience than we have today. The new fees would be applied to 17 parks like the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Yosemite, and more beginning on May 1, 2018. Non-commercial vehicles would be charged $70 up from $30 currently at many parks. People on bike or foot would be charged $30 up from $15, and an annual pass to any of the 17 parks would be $75 up from $60. The department is estimating an increase in revenue of $70 million annually. A new NPR poll finds that a majority, 55% of white Americans, believe they face discrimination in America today, but a much smaller share say they've experienced it while applying for a job, 19%, being considered for raises or promotions, 13%, or applying to college, 11%. It's worth noting that 84% of white people surveyed believe minorities in the U.S. face discrimination. Why it matters: this view echoes President Trump's campaign rhetoric that white Americans are under attack. And since taking office, Trump has offended every group except for straight, white, Christian men in America, Axios' Mike Allen reports. Some background on Jeff Flake's decision to retire: Flake was dead. Everybody knew it, including Republican leadership and the NRSC. The public polls showed he was going to lose badly to Kelly Ward, and him told the internal polling wasn't much better. The GOP has a commitment to defend incumbents, but money is finite, and they're not about to pour endless amounts of cash into a losing race. Some senior officials, including several people who considered themselves close to Flake, were blindsided by his anti-Trump book. Bottom line on the politics, he was a goner. And even if he pulled off an unexpected primary victory against Ward, how would he turn out Trump voters in the general election? It's also not clear how this will play out in urban areas when there's a lot of traffic or a driver shortage. Uber already uses its surge pricing mechanism to mitigate some of these situations, so passengers aren't likely to appreciate paying an extra fee just because a sporting event caused traffic and a delayed pickup. More, Uber is also rolling out a new passenger cancellation fee. Drivers will now earn either the standard fixed-rate fee, or a fee based on time and distance, whichever one is greater. Background: Overstock.com might seem like an unlikely eco-issuer, but the company has been an early adopter of cryptocurrencies. It was one of the first companies to accept payment via Bitcoin, and has formed a subsidiary called that is creating the first SEC-compliant exchange for companies to trade digital tokens. It's that too exchange, spurred by a July regulatory finding, that would be financed via the eco sale. Axios spoke with Byrne prior to his speech, and learned a bit more. He acknowledges that it may not make sense for both Overstock.com and to remain parts of the same company, given their very different businesses. If a split does come, he plans to continue running the crypto piece, although leaves open the possibility of overseeing both. Overstock.com currently has a market cap just south of $1 billion. The Overstock.com eco will utilize two, with Byrne comparing it to Jonas Salk injecting himself with the polio vaccine to prove safety. He believes in a future whereby companies find it more efficient to raise capital via ICOs than by selling stock, and thinks many existing companies could issue ICOs to buy back shares. Byrne says that at least half of the ICOs he's seen are specious, often just a one-page white paper hoping to attract unsophisticated investors.